Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Luke, and it has been a long time since I last uploaded. Life got in the way, things happened, but here I am, and I'm ready and excited to start again uploading. I've seen the channel continue to grow, even though I haven't done anything in like 3 years, so it's really exciting to see that the community is still here and that you guys want to keep on learning and just checking out awesome, interesting things. So hopefully I can deliver. The channel might be a little different now. Maybe instead of just focusing solely on philosophy, maybe a little more history, more interesting events going on here. So hopefully this channel is going to keep growing and we're going to build this community. So yeah, if you like this video, definitely hit the likes button, hit the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed, and I hope to hear from you in the comment section below. So let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about the Crown of Thorns, something sacred, divine, yet made out of earthly materials. Sisyphus spina-christi to be exact, which I did not know until I looked this video up. It has another name, but it's just like a more common name. So anyway, yeah, so it's definitely been a symbol for hope, for love, for, I don't know, like 2 millennia. It's been around a very long time since Christ walked the earth. It's been venerated all over the place. It is of great, amazing significance. Everyone's hopefully heard about this before, seen it depicted in movies, artwork. Which artwork's actually an interesting topic because you don't see the Crown of Thorns being depicted a lot until you get into, say, like the second half, the first millennia or onward into the past 1000 AD, for instance. Now, I'm just going to kind of take you through the history of the Crown of Thorns. I'm not going to cover everything in super heavy detail, but I've got some cool quotes in here from primary sources, as well as just a lot of interesting information. Yeah, I mean, it's got everything from like fire, obviously most of you guys probably remember that from 2019, to deals with loans and collateral using the Crown of Thorns to pay for things. It's got attacks by different groups of Muslims trying to force people out of Jerusalem, and then like the French Revolution, which is another very dangerous time period in history. So it's got a lot of just like interesting history around the Crown of Thorns that a lot of people don't know about. And also just the question of like, okay, if Jesus was crucified on Calvary in Jerusalem, then how in the world did the Crown of Thorns get to France? And then how about Sainte-Chapelle? And then how about Notre Dame? And those. And then now it's actually in a different place currently just because of the fires. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the first instance I could find mentioning the Crown of Thorns relic, with the exceptions of the Gospels, was from 409 AD. St. Paulinus instructed the faithful to venerate the Holy Thorns relic in the Basilica of Mount Sion in Jerusalem, and we can kind of read some of this stuff from the primary sources I'm listing right now. Now, there's actually a couple other mentions between 400 and say 530, but we're going to skip over those because in 570, Cassiodorus, who's a very famous statesman, wrote about it saying, "There we may behold the thorny crown, which was only set upon the head of our Redeemer, in order that all the thorns of the world might be gathered together and broken." Now, in 591 AD, so again, these times are kind of, big gaps, 20 years, for instance, or whatever, but this is, of course, the first millennia. Documentation was not as good at all, but in 591 AD, Gregory of Tours describes the relic saying, "They say that the Crown of Thorns appears as if it is alive. Every day its leaves seem to wither, and every day they become green again because of divine power." Now, of course, this is something that a lot of people would be very interested in, and that's exactly why everyone wanted to venerate this, because it was kind of a sign from God that, yes, this is the Crown of Thorns, something that withers and yet comes back day in and day out without, being planted or anything like that. It's just a straight miracle for sure. Now, during the next several hundred years, not a whole lot is written about the Crown of Thorns, and there's a couple reasons for this. So, like, for instance, in Jerusalem in 636 AD, there's actually a Muslim conquest that takes over the city, which, is previously controlled by the Byzantine Empire. So this, of course, forces eventually the Crown of Thorns to be moved so that it can be more easily accessed by the pilgrims, because when you go to Jerusalem and it's run by, Muslims, they're not going to be super happy to let the Christians in to be able to venerate their relics. So thankfully, it's able to be moved safely to another location. So it's not exactly clear when this happened, but sometime before 1063 AD, we think, it was transferred to Constantinople, which was, of course, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Now, during the time period a little bit before this, say like 200 years before this, there was actually a lot of cool gifts given. So they would take a piece of the thorn, like Charlemagne, for instance, or whatever, and they would send it off to other people as a gift, like an imperial gift, for instance, or what have you. And that's just a really cool thing because everyone's able to have a little piece of that relic, and it's kind of similar to what happened to the Holy Cross, where they chopped it up into a bunch of pieces and sent it out so that people would be able to have a piece of it and venerate it. So anyway, skipping ahead 200 years, Baldwin II takes the throne at age 11 in 1228. Now he's the Emperor of Constantinople, but this is where things get a little interesting and how the relic goes from not only Jerusalem to Constantinople, but from Constantinople to France, because that's pretty big, geographical difference there. So essentially, the empire's not doing too well at this point, and Baldwin II is like, hey, I need to take out a loan. I need to get some money. So he, of course, goes to some of the wealthiest people around at this time, the people who control the seas that are very good merchants, and that would be, of course, the Venetians, right? So they have an amazing fleet. They have a lot of money. They're involved in the Fourth Crusade, among other things. And yeah, there's just like a lot of issues with them in history, especially like the Fourth Crusade. There's just people aren't able to pay them back the money because they're just not as wealthy as them. But anyway, so the Venetians, specifically Niccolo Quirino, he allows the Emperor Baldwin II to take out a loan through him, and it's something on the order of magnitude of like 13,000 gold pieces, which is just like an unfathomable, like huge amount of money, right? A lot of money. So for instance, he takes out that money and he's using that, but of course, Quirino's not going to be like, you can just walk away with my money. He wants a little collateral. So similar how people, put up their house for collateral, things like that. Well, Baldwin II puts up the Crown of Thorns, which is a terrible idea. Why would you do this? But anyway, hey, it all works out in the end. So anyway, he puts up the Crown of Thorns as collateral. And then Baldwin realizes, at a certain point, he's like, man, I'm not able to pay this off, so I'm going to need a little help here. So he travels around Europe, goes to St. Louis IX, King of France, and says like, hey, can you help me out here? And of course, St. Louis IX's like, well, wait a second. So I can help you out, and maybe we can do a deal here. Maybe you can give me a gift, or maybe you just give a gift for yourself. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyway, so it's like, sure, I'll help you out. So he pays off that imperial debt, and as a gift, Baldwin II gives King Louis of France the Crown of Thorns. Now, he didn't sell it to him. That's to be clear. It had to be carefully shown that he didn't sell it to him, because that would have violated a number of ecumenical rules and things like that. You can't sell relics. In fact, the Code of Canon Law actually says in Canon 1190, quote, "It is absolutely forbidden to sell sacred relics," end quote. So it's very clear that you're not supposed to do that. And I've even read in some places, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's basically just calling upon the wrath of God if you try and sell a relic. So don't do that. That's not good, right? So after the ownership for the Crown of Thorns, the custodian, however you want to look at it, is transferred to King Louis IX. He orchestrates a number of ceremonies to celebrate the arrival of the crown in France, right? You've got to remember, France, one of the most Catholic countries ever. This is Europe. This is the Age of Faith, the High Middle Ages. So everyone's just off the charts excited about this being able to come to Europe, so everyone can visit it a lot easier. So he actually, at one point, and when these ceremonies culminate, they have him remove his crown, and he wears only a humble tunic. So he proceeds barefoot. He walks into Paris while carrying the relic, and that's on August 19th, 1239. So then, after walking into the Notre Dame Cathedral, a sermon is given about the relic, and then it's locked away in the royal palace for safekeeping. Right. So then, 9 years later, the beautiful Sainte-Chapelle Cathedral was consecrated in the honor of the Passion of Christ, and the crown was moved there. And this chapel is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it has vaulted ceilings, stained glass, just the entire wall there, beautiful colors throughout, just something very, very magnificent. It's a wonder how they were able to build this without power tools and things like that. And this place would be the home for the Crown of Thorns for over 500 years. So yeah, Sainte-Chapelle was the place to go to see the Crown of Thorns. But of course, as all good things seem to end in this fallen world, the French Revolution happens. 1790, chaos is wreaking through Europe, and the Crown of Thorns is then moved to the Abbey of St. Denis, and then to the treasury of Notre Dame, where it could finally be worshipped by all the people of Paris. And that's where most people remember and know that the Crown of Thorns exists, and where it's kept and held. But again, tragedy would strike. And even though tragedy would strike, the Crown of Thorns pulls through again. So on April 15, 2019, and I personally remember this scene, this all over the news, flames started jutting out of the top of Notre Dame. It's just burning. It looks like it's going to be terrible. The Crown of Thorns and a couple other items, a priest rushes in. He's able to pull them out just in time. And actually, the Parisian firefighters are able to put out a lot of the fires. And it, damages the cathedral for sure. But, it could have been a lot worse. This is like a lot of wood in there, very old, all those things. But yet, it's able to, manage and push through. And currently, the Crown of Thorns is being held in the Hôtel de Ville, and it'll be kept there until Notre Dame is rebuilt, and we'll be able to put the Crown of Thorns back in there for everyone to venerate. So yeah, guys, it's just a really interesting story about how the Crown of Thorns moved from, Jesus' head when he dies, and then like how it's moved from Jerusalem to Constantinople to France, and then from Sainte-Chapelle to Notre Dame to like Hôtel de Ville, and then like back to hopefully Notre Dame soon enough. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to know about anything, just put it in the comments below. I'll answer your questions. If you have ideas for future videos, also put those in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe. I hope to see you guys in the next video. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed me getting back into YouTube, and we'll see what we can't do. Until next time, peace.